over and over again. Because if you're only playing one note over and over and over again, not going to take long for people to bail on your marketing. My name is Jennifer Huddleston Kelly. I am the creative genius behind Elephant Sandwich Social Media Management, and I help people level up through the effective use of social media. I also do other things, and as I hinted yesterday, there's going to be a big change come probably the first of the year, where we will be diversifying and adding a lot of additional services. And so this today's topic kind of speaks to where I am and where you need to be as far as taking a look at how many notes your marketing is playing. When I first started my business, I needed all the things, and I was all over the place, and I'm sure you were too. Starting a brand new thing can make you really, overwhelming, and so I tried to be on, all the platforms every day. I was building a website. I had, my little business cards. I was going to professional networking groups. I was trying to set up classes and workshops, and I threw everything at the wall all at once because I needed clients. And so I was almost manic in the many different avenues I was trying to pursue. Well, it doesn't take long for that to just get ridiculously overwhelming. And I suspect, like many other people, I overcorrected. And I pulled back and I said, okay, this is the hill I'm going to plant my flag on. And I chose just a couple of things that I was going to worry with. And so I went from doing all the things to, okay, I'll make one video a week. Talk About It Tuesday was what I was doing. I'll write a blog on my website. I'll share every day on Facebook, and I'll go to networking. And that was probably right about the right amount. Well, then, things changed, and I was very limited. I felt very limited when professional networking shut down. Um, and the blog wasn't really doing anything spectacular because I wasn't using it very effectively, admittedly. I had clients, and so I was kind of focused on what was going on over there, and that was is always an important thing. Um, but, and so I got very comfortable with, okay, I'll just I'll focus on this, I'll dabble in that, I'll largely ignore this over here. To the point that literally I took my website down because I'm going to rebuild it, and it's been down for a minute. And that just and rebuilding the website just wasn't a priority for a while. It is now. So that's kind of my point. Is it's time to sort of widen back up and to be very deliberate about how we're going to approach our marketing. There needs to be a marketing strategy and a marketing plan. Relying on one platform or two to do everything you need it to do may not be the best use of your time, energy, or money. So today I'm going to talk about both playing different notes on each platform, and then what playing different notes means as far as diversifying. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is playing different notes on each platform. For lack of a better word, I don't necessarily mean just a social media platform. We can be talking about a newsletter, we can be talking about email marketing, we can be talking about your blog, we can be talking about your website, we could be talking about direct mailers, we could be talking about what you're doing in your professional networking groups. There are a lot of different ways to market. And what I have seen and heard and experienced is that we get comfortable with our messaging and we say the same thing over and over and over and over again. And um, and what happens is that by the time people have heard your one note over and over and over and over again, they don't hear it anymore. They don't think about it anymore, and they certainly don't connect with it anymore. And you're not connecting with different people or people who are in a different place than the one person who's listening. And so let's talk about how to change that up a little bit. When you are sharing on your social media, make sure that you are, number one, explaining what you do for the person who doesn't understand it at all. If you are a roofer and you are explaining what you do for someone who doesn't understand it at all, the first thing that you need to let people know is typically the way that we do business is that you file an insurance claim and the insurance will pay for most of your roof. You will only be responsible to pay your deductible. It's an important thing to let people know this is how this works. Okay? Because it creates a sense of confidence when they know, oh, this isn't all the money isn't all coming from out of my pocket. The next thing you need to do is explain very in a general way how the insurance claim process works because there are people and you've met them who have filed that claim, gotten the first check and think that's not enough money to replace my roof. Well, that's true. That's because there's going to be more than one check. There may be two, there may be three different checks. But if they don't know that, or if they don't understand that, if they aren't bold enough to call and ask, why isn't this check going to cover replacing my roof? Then they're going to sit there with that check and never call anybody to put the roof on, you know? So we're going to want to explain that to someone who knows absolutely nothing. I'll give another example. I was checking something out for a, a friend, um, and her business is it's sort of in the beauty industry. I don't really want to be too specific, but it's a service that you can get done. Um, and here's the thing. I have looked at her website. I have gone to her social media. I love her branding. I love the images. I love a lot of the stuff that they have done. I only have one question. Like I even know what problem it solves, and that's probably the most important thing. I just don't exactly understand what the difference in what she does is from what most people do to solve this problem. I know that this is different, but I don't know how. And because I don't know how and it hasn't been explained to me, I know that for me personally, the chances are real slim that I would walk into a salon, spa, or whatever offers this service and say, "Hey, I want this done," because I don't know how it works. I don't know how it's different from what I've had done in the past. So, and nobody wants to feel dumb. Nobody wants to say, hey, I don't really know what this is. I myself have fallen victim to not explaining, just assuming that people know what I'm talking about when I say I'm a social media manager. And then I'm at family Christmas, and one of my relatives says, what is a social media manager? And I'm horrified because I have never taken the time to explain specifically this is what I do. And this is how it's different from building websites or running, whatever. And because I just assume that people knew, and they don't, and they won't ask the question. Most people won't ask the question, but they'll just scroll by and decide this must not have anything to do with me because I don't know what it is. So you want to make sure that you're speaking directly to those people. You want to speak directly to people who have the problem that you solve and understand a little bit about how you would be helpful to them. So for those people, you want to speak directly to their pain. You want to talk about what the results of a successful transaction would look like, how they're going to feel once they get this thing off their plate, once they get this problem solved, once they find your solution. Then you want to speak to the person who knows they have the problem, knows you can solve it, but is hesitant because they're not sure you're the right person or this is the right product for them. So how do I build some confidence in the solution that I am offering? Is it a money back guarantee? Is it a first time discount? Is it my reputation? How can I share my reputation? How can I establish my expertise? How can I share about others' experiences and what they experienced in working with me or in trying this product or what kind of results? So there are a lot of different ways to address that kind of thing. So you want to make sure that you're talking to people at different stages in the buying process, and you want to diversify that. You also want to have some posts that are specifically going to be interactive. You want to create conversations. You want to become a go-to. You want to see if you can get some interactions, some opinions shared back and forth. Because if there is no interaction on social media, it doesn't matter if you have social media or not. So we really have to get to making some connections. But beyond that, we also want to take a look at what are the many different ways that we can be marketing besides just this one platform. Um, First off, there are lots of different social media platforms. You may well want to look at putting feelers out in multiple platforms. You may have one primary platform, but I think that it's going to be increasingly important to have a presence on more than one platform. Also, look at your website. Is it updated? Is it dynamic? Do you have things that are changing on the website? Do you have a way to share about what's going on your website? Are you running seasonal specials? Do you have a blog? Is your website gathering any information for you? Any contact information? Is it providing a way for you to make a more direct contact with the people who are checking out what you're doing? Are you using email or newsletters? I think increasingly that's going to become something that is once again pretty important. And doing that well is going to be crucial. Figuring out what kind of information is important, what people will tune in for, how often you should be sending information. Um, you may well want to try something like a direct mailer. You may want to go back to some professional networking. You may want to create some events. You may want to provide some loyalty programs, referral programs. You may want to create a social group, whether that's on a platform or in person. You may want to give lectures, workshops, webinars. You may want to see if you can get some press. Is there a television show where you could provide a segment for? Is there an organization where you could volunteer to lead a workshop or give a 15-minute talk to your ideal client or customer? Do you have influencers that you could work with? Can you do a discount or a giveaway? Are you running paid ads on various platforms, on Google, on mailers, with the press? Are you using text So when you think about it, there are all these different ways, and they don't all have to be daily, but adding even one or two methods to connect with people beyond just your social media is going to add some depth. Now, another important part of a marketing strategy is to figure out where you want people to go. When you've made your connection, when they are interested in what you're doing, do you want them to go to your website? Do you want them to go to your email? Do you want them to call you? Do you want them to text you? Do you want them to go to your scheduling page? Figure out where you're funneling people to. Where's your home base going to be? Um, because in doing that, then when you send a newsletter, you know where you want to send people to. Here's all this information that I'm giving you. Here's this value that I'm sharing with you. Next step is follow me on this, or send me a message, or let's set up a call, but know what the path is you want to lead them down. A marketing strategy is going to define, here are the steps in the process, and here's where I want you to go prior to we're on the phone and let me send you this information, or come to my office, or buy my thing. So we're going to want to take a look at not only diversifying our message on each platform, but making sure that we're using different ways to reach different people. And a marketing strategy is going to allow you a way to maximize your impact without having to maximize your effort. The good news is, if you decide that I want to add to what I am currently doing by creating a newsletter, let's say I decide that a newsletter is probably going to be the best way for me to add another layer to my marketing plan. Super easy. I can create my newsletter copy and then break that into small pieces, use that for my social media. I'm not having to do a whole lot more work. I'm just going to take the same information, package it up a little differently, and put it over there. I can take that same idea, I can make some graphics, or I can take some fun pictures, and then I can share that again. Same basic idea, same theme, but I can take that over to another platform. I can make a video. I can add some hashtags, some very important hashtags. So I can take this same information, I can have my one big piece of information, and then I can break it into quotes. I can break it into questions that can maybe encourage some interaction. I can make a meme out of it. There's a lot of different ways that I can repurpose this one big piece of information that I'm going to use on multiple platforms, but I want to make sure that I'm not just putting the same thing here that I'm putting over there that I'm putting over there. We want everything to tie together, but not the exact same thing. If your Instagram and your Facebook look exactly the same, there's no reason for people to follow you on two platforms. If your blog is going to say the exact same thing in exactly the same way as your Facebook page does, then there's no incentive. Each one has to add a specific value if you want people to tune in, although you're also going to reach a different audience with different types of things. I always want it to be slightly different, but enough that you can tell it's still me, we're still talking about the same thing. And I'm going to add some extra value if I'm asking for information in return. If I want your phone number, then I'm going to have to give you something that makes it worthwhile for you to give me that phone number. If I want your email address, then I have to provide some value to you that you won't get any other way than if you provide me with your email address and check out my newsletter or my email blast. So we're going to be working over the next few months on taking a look at how to maximize the impact without creating a lot of extra effort. If we learned anything on Monday, it's that we need more ways to make connections than just the one note. Um, so I hope that that's helpful to you. If you need some help really working out a marketing plan for your business and not just that one note that you figured out how to play, let's talk. Um, as I said, I am diversifying some of my efforts and I will be adding some new layers to what I do beyond just a couple of platforms. And I'm really excited about that. So if I can help you out, please reach out to me. Let's just get to know each other. There's never any obligation. Let's just talk. Let's talk about how you can use social media and other marketing methods to really make a connection and to level up your business. Thanks so much, you guys.